Welcome everybody to the Join Dota League Season number 5 European Division 2. It is going to be xGame going up against Team Alpha. Of course, coming into this xGame, on paper, for sure should be the favorites, but they are running with at least a couple of stand-ins here, unless they have more than one player. 4K Warrior, for your knowledge, will be Mantis just because has some issues with his normal account for now, but probably running with 3 stand-ins, maybe not the best of things to go for, but Alpha, haven't seen them before, so don't know what to expect, of course. But in any case, we're HeflaTV, I'm Coacher. I'm going to be joined by Mike Loris, and do you think Alpha can stand up to xGame, with xGame having stand-ins?
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, it's not actually X game, and I think that point is when I think 3 out of the 5 players on X game aren't actually on X game. So ordinarily, I would say X game would take it, in a best of 7, 4-0 every single time. But this is an X game, so Alpha have a much larger chance. Maybe I'm not giving them enough respect, but I haven't heard of them or any of their players up to this point. So I can only assume that X game have, a little bit more star power and therefore a little bit more capable of winning.
Yeah, xGame, I haven't seen them for a couple of months without at least 2 stand-ins every game. Bignam used to stand in for them quite a lot. I think it was for the Bryden League,
Hmm.
but also they had Tomasz standing in quite a lot. I was pretty certain that he's gonna become a regular member for them, but
And Vlad, right?
Vlad as well. Yeah, that's correct. So I have no idea what's up with X Game. I'm not so sure if they're just not taking it seriously enough, or maybe they just haven't found the correct replacements, or what the case is. But a little bit sad to see just a team always running with different stand-ins.
Yeah, well, at the same time, they were never really the most consistent of teams. Like sometimes they would have amazing games, beat X top tier team, and then they would lose to some random team the day after, and it would be kind of weird to see a team that would fluctuate so much. And you would see X game in like the brackets or on a schedule, and you're like, well, I actually have no idea if they're going to be able to win because it's always going to be a coin flip. So it kind of does make sense that they're going to be moving things around given their lack of consistency in the past.
Well, even if the performance wasn't all that consistent, at least the lineup was. So, of course, sometimes it's like teams, they start up with a solid lineup. They don't get the best results, but they just keep on playing together. For example, like Hellraisers. Yes, they did have like small swaps of players. Dread coming in, of course, for example, but I mean, sometimes just running with the same lineup does work out in the end. If you're just having eternal issues, then sometimes you just can't work them out, I guess. But man, loading issues, fun times, fun times.
Yeah, so this is hopefully going to be resolved soon, as this is actually the worst part where you could not connect. If you disconnect 30 minutes in the game, that's fine. But right now, it's just like the worst. Just the worst. I do like his icon though, Magic A or Magica? Magic A. That's a pretty sweet invoker thing going on there.
Okay, also his PC rebooted suddenly. At least now we know the reason. I bet it was like a Windows
Windows
update
update.
or something like that.
Do you want to restart in 10 minutes? We're gonna restart in 10 minutes. You don't want to restart in 10 minutes? No, we're gonna restart in 10 minutes. It'll be fine. I hate that shit, man.
I think if you postpone it for long enough, it's gonna do it anyway at one point, right?
Really?
I
I've
think.
never, I mean, I usually just like turn off my computer every day, so it just does it then, but I've never postponed it for that long.
I think I've seen it like once or twice. And it's like you keep on postponing, and then it's like at one point he says that I'm gonna restart the computer in 10 minutes. It's not like an option anymore. It's like I'm gonna do it.
Is assuming direct control. Dude,
It's
that
the
and I
start of
remember
the
having
rise of the machines.
yeah, Skynet. I remember what Norton antivirus would do that a lot. It would just do random shit when you didn't want it to. And nowadays you don't have to worry about it because there's more than one antivirus program. But back then, when like the only thing you knew was just like this one program, you had to buy it in like a Best Buy or a store or something. That was the worst.
Well, at least he has reconnected now, but I completely feel there's just, especially, computers used to be a hell of a lot slower as well at the times.
Mhm.
So when you had like a random scan suddenly running, you couldn't do anything else. And when you're like in the middle of a game or something, it's like goddamn fail. You just disconnect out, too laggy or whatever. But here we are finally in the draft, Team Alpha versus xGame in this 2-game series. And Alpha do start with an IO ban, a hero that xGame do run rather often. Of course, with having stand-ins, maybe don't have a correct IO player. I do believe Vlad played it in the Bridal League for them and had some pretty great success with it. But at the moment, no clue if they even have an IO player.
Yeah, so just going to get rid of that as pretty much a safety precaution. I'm actually pretty interested to see how much the drafts of DAC are going to be affecting these types of games because the drafts that are happening over in like, the biggest tournament of, the past however months are definitely going to be shaping the drafts of like, all the downstream drafts. But you can't just first pick a Shadow Fiend and then expect to win, or like grab a Lycan, grab a Chen, and then expect to be winning. So I'm actually pretty curious to see how much these teams are taking the first picks to heart and how much they're just completely ignoring because they don't think that they're good.
I mean, I have seen quite a lot of Shadow Fiend getting picked up in the Division 2 for Join Dota League as well. It's probably definitely affecting it, but like you said, it's not like you can pick the hero and suddenly win with it. You have to practice, you have to have the proper players who can handle those heroes as well. I think it's probably a hell of a lot easier with like Lycan or maybe Juggernaut, even Troll Warlord to some extent, or just Axe. But Shadow Fiend, you need to safeguard, you need to guarantee his farm early on, or just stack the jungle for him to flash farm and whatnot. So you definitely have to build around a couple of those heroes.
Yeah, and it's not a hero that, as you said, you can't really just pick up and play him. You need someone who has a lot of practice with the hero to actually grab it. But, also like prioritizing heroes like Chen, who I think if you first pick it in this type of game, you might be able to get away with it, but overall, it's probably not the strategy you want to be running just in general. There's a different kind of environment around here, but we'll see if they actually decide to go down that route. xGame taking a hell of a long time to ban out.
Their drafter actually
okay.
disconnected, but managed to come back.
So minus 30 time for penalty, and then minus like another minute because they disconnected. I mean, I guess it's fine. This is a speed round for xGame.
The admin even offered to go for a remake, but xGame were like, no, we're fine, guys, we're fine, we can draft, no worries. But the Troll and the Juggernaut now removed, so Team Alpha, I guess if you want to just play it safe and don't really reveal any of your cards, like a Vengeful Spirit first pick possibly.
That's probably the safest way to go. I mean, Vengeful Spirit is a hero that you're going to be banning out most of the time if you're not actually going to be picking it up. It is maybe going to be a little bit tiring to see this hero, but man, she just does everything that you want out of a support hero. Utility, late game potential, early game potential. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me. It's everything you could possibly want.
Yeah, it's just such a great skill set on her, especially the ability to help out with a much faster Roshan. Also builds that Medallion of Courage rather often. I mean, I think it's like 80% of the games at least, the Medallion of Courage and the Vengeful. But xGame themselves, they do go for the Lycan now. Whether they're gonna go for more push, we shall see. I guess you might want to pick up like a Witch Doctor possibly for the heal. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna go all out, go back a couple of months, go like a Lycan Death Prophet.
Oh man, that's been a really long time since I've seen a Death Prophet. It is kind of weird how like I don't think they actually have they nerfed her. They nerfed her once, but she was still seen. I don't know if they nerfed her again since then.
The ultimate cooldown a second time as well, increasing it by another 10 seconds, I think it was. So the cooldown of the ultimate got like all in all from TI4 to now, I think it's like 20 or 30 seconds longer. Plus they nerfed refresher or cooldown as well. Maybe that had something to do with it, but it's just that he got nerfed, still got played a lot, and suddenly fell off.
Yeah, so her and Razor pretty much just rip in peace. They had their time in the sun, and now it's just not that time anymore. Apparently, it's time for Crystal Maiden to be second picked for xGame. Not too much synergy here. Crystal Maiden's decent at protecting your carries, though Lycan really doesn't need that much protection. Pretty sure from the looks of it, it's just going to be a Crystal Maiden who is going to be off in the jungle, as you don't really need her to protect your safe lane up against a Bat Rider, assuming you don't pick up an absolutely terrible safe laner like a Spectre or something.
Oh man, when you said the Crystal Maiden is probably going to be ending up I was like immediately thinking fodder. Just it's so ridiculous that in so many games Crystal Maiden just ends up, I mean, you can't even say it's feeding or anything, just because you are so damn squishy and so slow, can't really outrun anything. But if you get a decent-ish start, get those early levels, you can definitely gank. You have the double nuke, or well, the slow from the Crystal Nova, as well as the Frostbite, of course, to just lock somebody down. It's not too shabby at all. I think I saw it yesterday or the day before. They even had a Throw Ranger on the same team, and they were up against a Batrider off lane, and just the Frostbite plus even Crystal Maiden's right clicks actually managed to just zone off the Batrider solo quite efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, Drow Ranger with any range hero is going to be able to do that, but you got to remember that CM, even though she is extremely slow, she does pack a punch. Maybe not in the right click department, but her spells, they do a hell of a lot. So Crystal Maiden, if she does get that amplification, yeah, she'll be doing some work, but with the Lycan on their team, it seems like xGame this particular game don't want to be going for that. It's not too late, I suppose, but it doesn't seem like that's going to fit into their game plan, especially not up against a Batrider and a Vengeful Spirit already picked up by Team Alpha. So it might just be a Vengeful Spirit or a CM for the sake of CM right now, and I think that's reasonable. They could prioritize a little bit more mana-heavy heroes down the line. Team Alpha, their opening is very, very vanilla. You grab the Vengeful Spirit first. As you said, that's a very blank slate kind of approach, and Batrider is very similar. Having initiation, picking it up early is always going to be really nice.
Yeah, it's definitely not too bad of a hero to have, but for xGame at the moment, maybe even see something like a Crystal Maiden Undying combination. When the Crystal Maiden comes out a couple of times, I have seen the Undying follow. Both are heroes that almost never get picked up, but never mind, going for an Earthshaker, just way more of a standard pick, and the Earthshaker just is that strong of a support hero, to be honest. Great stun from a long range. You can just use it aggressively, defensively if need be. And once you get the blink, just Echo Slam. And even Earthshaker himself, if he gets enough levels for that Enchant Totem getting maxed, you can do quite a lot of physical damage yourself.
All right, so Earthshaker, as you said, can pack a punch, but Weaver, Shadow Fiend, heroes that can pack a bigger later game punch. They're just I was just watching a discussion about how Weaver wasn't picked anymore, and I'm pretty sure if you look at Team Alpha's draft, this is why Weaver isn't picked anymore, because heroes like Vengeful Spirit and heroes like Lion especially, they just demolish Weaver. It's not even funny. Walk into a Hex and Weaver is going to be in a lot of trouble, and then Magic Missile, Spiked follow-up, then Figure of Death to just put it all together, and a very, very soft hero, a Glass Cannon like Weaver, who relies on his mobility, who needs to be able to get that Chikuchi off, is not going to have a good time. So xGame grabbing a hero that they have run in the past quite often, but this is not going to be a good Weaver game. There's just way too much, first of all, AoE, second of all, Disable on Team Alpha.
Yeah, it's going to be somewhat hard for sure. The Weaver can only hope for that he has the Sokuchi activated once he gets hexed, because you're still going to be able to run at hasted movement speed for the duration of it. But yeah, it's just going to be pretty bad. Team Alpha, they can go for some more lockdown in the form of their safe lane core now if they want to. If not, you can go for just even more late game, pick up something like a Medusa possibly. It's not too bad up against Lycan, for example, who does come in with lots of units usually. Just pop the Stone Gaze. Then again, I guess Lycan tends to build for a Necrobook, which Medusa usually does not want to face. But for xGame, Weaver or Mirana offlane for them. Or even an aggressive tri-lane maybe.
Yeah, it might be an offensive tri-lane with Shaker, CM, and then either Weaver or Mirana. Both of those heroes can get it done. I'm inclined to think Mirana tri-lane is probably a little bit stronger, and she does do a little bit better given a little bit less farm in a tri-lane situation. So having a Weaver solo the safe lane, having a Lycan in the solo mid, pretty reasonable lanes for xGame. As far as how much that's punishable by Team Alpha, they already have Vengeful Spirit Lion up against a tri-lane. As long as they don't pick a super weak hero in that lane, like Medusa is generally regarded as fairly weak, but even she will be decent enough to survive most of what xGame have to throw at her, I think. Because the sustained damage of xGame is very low, then Alpha will be fine to just defensive tri-lane it up. They could try to dodge a tri-lane, but I think running head-on won't be the worst for them. Ooh, if they grab a Wind Ranger, that might switch lanes around a little bit, although a defensive tri-lane for Wind Ranger is actually really good.
Yeah, it's just great attack animation. You can stay safe using the Wind Run, of course. And I think Shadow Fiend, it doesn't really matter if it's the Shadow Fiend mid lane or the Wind Ranger. Both should have a fairly decent time up against Lycan, of course. Shadow Fiend maybe a little bit more abusive even. It's hard to say. Shadow Races and Power Shot both. They could just farm as well as harass Lycan at the same time.
Mhm.
We'll see though how they're gonna choose to lane this, but I think Team Alpha's lanes should be rather strong. I mean, it doesn't matter really which hero they put where, they should still have pretty good lanes.
Yeah, I'm liking Team Alpha's draft quite a bit. They have the initiation edge over xGame, as xGame will have to rely on Shaker fissures and a dimensional blink dagger on Shaker to really get good initiation off, or Mirana ultimates. And I mean, that's a fine way to do it, but it's not quite as good as Bat Rider. So Alpha have that. They have quite a lot of lockdown. They have lockdown and then some. You kind of need it to deal with the Weaver. And then they have a lot of damage. The Wind Ranger, well, in the games that I've seen of her, they typically do tend to build very heavy into the damage department. So, I think in the past couple of games, been Force Staff, Aghanim Scepter into crit or some other big damage item. But some damage item is down the line, and of course, Shadow Fiend will be doing a very similar thing. So, Alpha's draft is looking pretty good. Whereas for X Game, I still don't know if this Weaver is going to get any traction.
Yeah, Weaver is just kind of a situational hero, and I think usually it's like best to go for like a maybe 5 pick Weaver, something like that. It's like Weaver, Storm Spirit, heroes that rely on their mobility, and when the enemy has enough lockdown, suddenly that hero might get shut down completely. So I think going for the Weaver that early on may or may not have a mistake. Or I guess it was the 4th pick, so maybe
Mhm.
not that early, but even then Alpha have plenty of lockdown, and also you just brought out the Wind Ranger item build. It's actually just the Aghanim Scepter. Once you get that one, even without damage items, it can do a deceptively high amount of damage, especially considering they're gonna have the presence of the Dark Lord as well as the Wave of Terror to just provide minus armor.
Yeah, it only really does damage if you're able to lock down the enemies, and that'll be something that they could do so very easily. And it also just wreck towers like no other. It's disgusting how much wrecking ball potential Wind Ranger has with that Aghanim Scepter versus those towers. So, yeah, it will be pretty dangerous if the Wind Ranger gets off to a good start. And it looks like they are going to be running a defensive tri-lane on the top lane.
Oh man, it's just more lag. I mean, to be honest, most people, well, I guess X Game being from Kazakhstan, they have more issues for sure with internet than most people would, at least into European servers. But I don't know, like, I don't see how it can be possible if you're playing on Luxembourg and it's fine, and Stockholm is suddenly like super bad and you can't play at all. It should still be decent, shouldn't it? I mean, it's not like it's that much farther away or something.
Hey man, I don't know. It's depending on how Valve put down the place the servers, depending on how I don't know the EU would they place the internet wires? I don't know how that shit works. I'm a stupid American. I don't know about all those things.
Well, we're
But the
gonna
log
have
is
a
up, by the
remake
way.
anyway. I think they agreed upon going into the Austrian server now,
Yeah.
so that's gonna happen. Hopefully, it's gonna fix the issues. Sometimes, just no matter what you do, no matter what server you're connected to, you're still gonna be lagging. Every now and then, unfortunately, such things just happen. I mean, hopefully, it's not gonna be the case. Hopefully, the Austrian server will just be fine for everybody. If not, I have no idea if they're gonna have to look for a stand-in, but I think if they had to replace Stalcat, that would be in violation of the rules of Join the League.
hmm
I think maximum 3 stand-ins is what you can have.
Yeah, I
Should be
think that
maximum 2 to be honest, but
yeah, I agree. That should be the rule, but whatever. It is, I guess, to be fair, really bad server ping is going to be affecting both sides rather equally, as Mirana definitely needs that ping, or I guess good ping. Uh, Weaver kind of needs it as well, just going up against all these fast disablers. And then also for Alpha, they have Wind Ranger and they have Bat Rider. And if you mess up with ping on those heroes, then you're screwed. So it's an even fight.
man, I love that Stalcat just checked Austria that it's bad for him, so we're gonna go back to Luxembourg.
I will not skill arrows. Hey, they last picked Mirana. Maybe just like let them swap it out. Could we take a different stunner, please?
Well, would they have any ranged? I guess it doesn't need to be ranged, but I think it's gonna be a core Mirana with Stalcat playing it.
Mhm.
So would any other hero even fit a similar role? I guess maybe like Gyrocopter homing missile, possibly.
Hmm. Well, I mean, they mostly picked her up in order to synergize with that extra stun in lane, given a CM and Earthshaker start. So you want to have a range hero just so that you don't have too much melee. Uh, I actually don't know if there are any heroes that could easily be swapped out. Wind Ranger would be the one, but it's on the other side. I guess if you're reverting the entire pick order, you could like open up Wind Ranger and just like kind of redo the last two picks. But yeah, you could grab something like Storm Spear or something, but they just function very differently in lanes.
Well, we can just keep our fingers crossed and hope that Stalcat will actually be fine here. But still, Team Alpha looking good with their lineup. Lane's gonna be decent for them. And since I think it was a Wind Ranger safe lane, right? Or at least that's how they positioned themselves.
Yeah.
It's just gonna mean that the supports are gonna be just free to roam around, unless xGame go for an offensive tri lane themselves. But even then, Wind Ranger, I mean, used to be played in the offlane a hell of a lot. So might be able to just stay even solo on the lane if need be. So Team Alpha, just Lion and Vengeful Spirit roaming. If I was xGame's mid laner, I'd be somewhat worried about it.
Most likely going to be that Lycan, and even though he is a rather tanky hero, he is a hero that you can sit on just because he only really has tankiness in order to help him out in lane. He has no way of escaping until he gets level 6, and even if he was level 6 when Vengeful Spirit line would rotate in, then they could disable him before or after he gets that shapeshift. And with Shadow Fiend there to deal the damage, it's really not going to be too much of an issue for Alpha to get those ganks off in the mid lane. So the Lycan's going to have to be a little bit careful, although he is going to grab Stout Shield's Quelling Blade as his first two items. This is typically indicative of a jungle, or he's just expecting a really tough lane.
Yeah, I mean, Stout Shield, definitely a decent start, but Curling Blade, not too sure if you need it, but it's gonna make it easier for you, and sometimes Lycans like get level 4, level 5, something like that from lane and go into the jungle, leave a support to just farm up that lane instead. But at the moment, for now, xGame, they are going up towards the top side as free, as Magica will be playing the Earthshaker, leaving Valak on the Crystal Maiden. The third one being Stalcat on the Mirana. We'll see if he's actually going to skill Arrow or not. Mid lane will be handled by, well, Seti and Abi on the Lycan. And last one is going to be Mantis on the Weaver.
And for Alpha, Hari is going to be playing the Vengeful Spirit, rotating around just a little bit. Alpha's Miggy is on the Lion, and he's going to be backing up King on the Wind Ranger. However, walled off to start things off. It's not really too much the Wind Ranger has to worry about here. Just simple eat through, or power shot through, or skill wind run, and you'll be fine anyway. So top lane is xGame. They're going to show their cards. We got Bakemono on the Shadow Fiend, most likely mid lane, and then ZLNTZ on the Batrider. And 4K Warrior already trying to mess with the enemies right now. Magic Missile is there. Sentry has been dropped. I think if Mantis was really paying attention, he would have seen the Sentry go from 2 to 1 in the Avengers inventory. So he should know that there's a Sentry there.
Yeah, that's a win. I mean, just having to use one Sukuchi. Yes, it costs you some mana, but getting a Sentry out of that is going to be huge. Because suddenly, if Alpha want to gank the Weaver for any reason, it's going to be just that much harder. But xGame, I think it's nice for them to send the Weaver up against a Batrider. Should be able to handle it. Already starts with a Magic Stick also. So Batrider's kill potential on the Weaver should be rather low, to be honest. Maybe with the Lasso, but not before that.
Yeah, this is a lane that Weaver will have just a really good edge in, since the chances of him dying to a Batrider before Lasso is extremely low. Up towards top King, going to take a combo of Fissure, Arrow. Windrun is going to be skilled up and he will be fine. If CM was there, maybe they actually get that kill, but of course, she's not exactly fast, so lagging behind a little bit. But going back to the bottom lane, Weaver should be winning this lane, or doing very well in this lane, pretty much no matter what. And opening up with Magic Stick ensures that he's going to have success in this lane, as Batrider needs to be spamming that Napalm, and you don't really want to be giving Weaver extra mana for Shikuchi.
Yeah, it's just... Batrider, he can, of course, choose to just go for only last hits and not even try to harass the Weaver at the same time. But usually, you want to use the sticky napalm on the creeps anyway to ensure those last hits, because otherwise 43 damage is pretty damn low on the Batrider early on.
Yeah, and especially up against a Weaver with a Ring of Protection start, you're going to need a little bit more in order to get into a right-click battle and win. So it should be a Weaver-favored lane for xGame down towards bottom. Over towards the mid lane, Shadow Fiend already has his couple of starting souls, so he should be fine moving forward. The base damage advantage is, of course, with that Lycan, especially with that Quelling Blade, but Bakemono with the Raze is going to be punishing and hopefully shoving back the Lycan for him. And, of course, the creep wave will be a little bit more under control by the Shadow Fiend, so kind of a similar situation to the bottom lane, except this time it's the Dire to have just as much of an advantage.
Well, it's so far 2 minutes in, no kills, haven't really even gotten close to a kill at all. Patrick is getting harassed rather heavily by the Weaver. Lycan a little bit so by the Shadow Fiend, and Lycan did get up to like 4 last hits before Shadow Fiend managed to catch up already, but now Shadow Fiend 11 and 3 compared to the 9 and 3. Not that far ahead, but Shadow Fiend, you can just farm that fast. Did go for a rune now, waiting for the bottle to be delivered. Double damage in as well. So Lycan, even with the Stout Shield, if Pokemon really wants to go for some harass, this double damage is gonna just be a world of hurt for the Lycan.
And you don't want to see a double damage rune on the enemy mid laner pretty much ever. And on Shadow Fiend, it's pretty much no exception. So, yeah, Lycan, I guess, does have the luxury of doing exactly this. I said this is indicative of a jungle build with the Stout Shield Quelling Blade. And if you're going to be dipping into the jungle every so often, you're going to be happy that you picked up that Quelling Blade. It's not the most expensive item in the world either. So, Lycan is going to have that alternative, just go in the jungle, grab a little bit of CS. But this is all time that Shadow Fiend is going to have spent in lane that he doesn't have to worry about anything. Like, actually nothing. It's him versus 0 heroes, so he's going to be doing just fine. And then up towards the top lane, the lane where there should be the most action, there's right now not that much. Although they're zoning out King pretty well. That's just as I say it. They're going to jump in towards King. Couple right clicks, not quite going to do it. Windrun is out. And Frostbite is going to get the kill. That was a very long-range Frostbite, and the chain stun isn't really that great for xGame, but they get it done anyway.
Yeah, I thought with the arrow landing that they might get the kill immediately, but just didn't have enough burst damage at the time. Crystal Maiden only does have 1 point into both spells, but he's gonna hit level 3 soon enough. Completely expecting him to go for that Arcane Aura now. It's gonna just make the tri-lane's life a hell of a lot easier. Earthshaker can go for more reliable fishers, and you can just fish with the arrows even if need be. Not really have to worry too much about your mana, especially should he pick up that Ring of Basilius to go for a Ring of Aquila for himself on the Mirana. But 4 minutes in, we did have the first blood. Migi comes in, steals the big Satyr with that Earth Spike. Of course, gonna cost him some mana, but gonna be fine as Weaver does die and get the kill, but he died before, so Batrider got the XP for it.
There's 9 magic stick charges on the Weaver. That death should not have happened. It should not have happened because it's Weaver versus Batrider, but also shouldn't have happened because Weaver has magic stick. So I can only assume misplay. I did not expect a kill to happen down there, actually, ever, really. Mantis would get the kill once he gets a little bit of chip damage into that Batrider, but aside from that, Bat is going to be pretty lucky that he got that. Up towards top, Magic is in a little bit of trouble, getting right-click down. He will take a fall. Starstorm won't kill off King. They don't have any more stuns. Power Shot off the mark, and it is going to be a kill for the defensive tri-lane of Alpha.
I think they saw Valak on the Crystal Maiden being towards the runes, so just knowing that there's only 2 of them for xGame, immediately making their move, and smart choice as well, getting a kill for themselves. But bottom lane now, Batrider is level 6. So far though, is it intentional, but he does not have a point into Lasso.
I think this is actually pretty reasonable. If he had Lasso right now, that's a kill. So maybe not completely reasonable, but like the chances of him actually finding a chance to lasso the Weaver and get a kill after that, they're few and far between. That was one of them because Mantis decided to get right up into the Firefly, but you don't expect that to happen. You don't expect the enemy Weaver to do that pretty much ever. So I think it could be intentional and it could just have punished him.
Yeah, it's just a little bit weird to see that. Of course, probably he's not planning on leaving this lane anyway, so he's not going to be going to gank or anything before he gets his Blink Dagger.
No, Balak going to dive a tower. Shackle going to fail. Fissure going to bail him out, though. Crystal Maiden is going to be fine. That's not really a hero you want to dive a tower with.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, at least that's the Tranquil Woods. Oh, power shot, snipe. Well done by King. Getting the kill, and with this xGame, need a pause. For, well, don't know exactly what reason at the moment. Probably lag. The most common of the reasons here. But another on pause. Okay then.
A rage pause.
Crystal Maiden, why you so noob? Why you die?
It wasn't like a super hard power shot because they had the creeps following, so it wasn't blind, which would have meant, you know, that's something you put in the highlight reel. But it's still like impressive to grab kills from that range, especially when CM, you expect her to walk away after getting bailed out by her entire lane. So it's a nice little pickup for Alpha, and xGame, this tri-lane was off to a good start. Now starting to stumble just a little bit, and this is going to get even worse as line picks up more and more levels. Down towards bottom lane, 4K Warrior, going to take a lasso. I don't know what you're doing, Weaver. You don't get close to the Batrider. That's not a good idea. I just don't know.
Mantis maybe should be just focusing more on the farm than just harassing the Batrider. It just feels like Mantis really wants to win the lane, just kind of crush the opposition. Last hit wise, he was ahead already by quite a bit. If he had just played it safe at the moment, he yes has gotten 1 kill on the Batrider, but he died himself before, now died once again. Batrider is just winning a lane that under normal circumstances he should not be.
And Batrider winning a lane means bad things for all the lanes of xGame, as give the Batrider a little bit more farm and suddenly he's going to get that much quicker of a Blink Dagger. He's not super close to it right now, but still 1300 gold with Tranquils already completed, with 2 kills to his name, and he's doing a lot better than anyone would really expect out of a Batrider in this particular lane. So accelerating the Batrider, probably not a good idea, and Mantis might even be the one to regret it later, as a blink into lasso is a pretty darn good way at stopping a Weaver. You just blink, lasso, dust, and the rest of the team can follow up very easily. So this bottom lane might get harder and harder for the Weaver as time progresses.
Yeah, certainly so, but xGame at the very least Lycan is getting reasonable farm. 52 last hits. Yes, Shadowfiend has 64, but both of them have a couple of just jungle creeps there for sure. But Shadowfiend is going for drums, so treads, drums, kind of a slightly older build, but Miggy in a lot of trouble. Arrow will not land though. Hex came out onto the Earthshaker. Fisher will in the end stop Lion, and he's gonna go down first. And now with the shapeshift, I think Hari is gonna be next. King definitely the harder target to go for, but if they have some stuns, maybe even that one could be coming out. I mean, King a little bit low on mana. Windrun. Oh, how long do we have the shapeshift left? I think he's gonna get the kill. A few more right clicks, and well, that's an easy triple kill for the Lycan. I mean, that went kind of perfectly. Alpha didn't have anybody else to even TP in to assist, so easy kills plus maybe a tower to follow.
Man, it's apparently a lot better to dive a tower with a Lycan than it is for a Crystal Maiden. So Lycan is going to go up to the top lane, clean house really, and these are heroes for Alpha that do pack quite a punch, but if you get right into their face, the Vengeful Spirit and Lion can't really do that much. Arrow onto Miggy as he teleports in. Leap will dodge magic missile. Actually, no, it won't. Fissure holding up Bakamono, who has come in, but his impact is not going to be that high as compared to the Lycan, who is going to get trapped in a corner. Hex double raised, and Abby is going to die eventually. No, Moonlight Shadow. Blind Raise. Blind Raise going to miss, and they actually get out. Lycan is going to kill off the Vengeful Spirit with Wolves in the meantime. Oh man, that's a huge win for xGame.
And Mantis gets a tier 1 at the same time also. So wins all around for xGame across the past minute pretty much. Getting 4 kills, a tier 1 tower, and not losing a single soul for herself. Although Earthshaker might be in trouble. Bakamono, if he gets 2 raises, he's pretty fast. 1 raise with the last right click to help out. Drums definitely paying off there for the extra movement speed. So Shadowfiend still having some pretty great farm, but I mean, sometimes Lycan is a little bit scarier if he gets off to a great start himself. And look at this, 3 heroes going. King did get hit by a 5-second arrow. Crystal Nova, Frostbite to follow. And that is an easy kill once again. 7-5. They're not that far ahead in kills, but definitely feels like xGame at the moment hold the momentum.
Bakamono's going to run into 2. Double raise is here though. That's a threatening amount of damage, but 4K Warrior going to go in for a hug. Weaver will die to the Requiem. That got off, plus the Death Requiem. And I guess somehow CM and Mirana are the ones to survive. They're also going to move forward looking for Miggy. They're going to run to Lion, wall him off from the high ground route. X on a stall cat though. He's going to try to run through the fish. It looks like he'll take a lot of damage on the way out. Starstorm not quite going to get the kill, but with one more right click it will. Alpha, they're just running one at a time into this grinder, but Abby in the mid lane is going to get hooked to a tree. Tower will be destroyed. Now he's going to try to turn around, kill off Hari, doing quite a lot of damage with that Vlad's, and that's going to be 1 kill. Has Earthshaker coming in, looking for another wall off, is perfect. King in a little bit of trouble, but does have Power Shot to get through, but no, is going to win run and instead run the other direction. That might be her death. Yeah, it will, because Abby's still on top of her. No, actually, Shackle Shot just in time, plus the lasso. Abby, now in a lot of trouble, is going to be going down here. Can't bottle up. Magic A is going to hex up afterwards. Spike, no Finger of Death, but they should have enough damage regardless. And xGame just falling short. This is coming to be a very close game as far as who gets to live and who dies.
Just getting the kill on Lycan is going to be huge, of course, for Alpha there, and I think had the Lycan gone for the Windrunner just full on 100%, I think they would have gotten the kill, first of all, earlier, and I don't think they would have gotten punished as heavily. But Lycan went towards the creep wave once the Fissure came out, so he wasted at least a couple of seconds just running about. So they didn't have like a unified decision there, whether to go or just go and farm and back off. And in the end, definitely paying the price for it. Still, Lycan has decent farm. Arcane Boots finished on the Earthshaker as well as Mantis. He's gonna go for Miggy, but Mantis, that's not a great place to be. He's gonna get hexed up. Nope, Miggy didn't go for the immediate reactions. If he gets the lockdown now, though, no, never mind. With the Fissure, they kill him off now, though. Oh, Echo Slam comes out as well. They're just gonna have to save Mantis. Mantis, do you really want to go for the fight? Does time lapse out for now. But that was really bold by Mantis, I have to say, just running into that position. They didn't have proper vision or anything, and he was more or less surrounded by 5 enemies.
Yeah, man, Mantis has been manning up a lot in this game, and not really for good reasons either. Like, giving a hug to a Shadow Fiend who's channeling Requiem as a Weaver, that's just a terrible idea. He's playing like the roaming, ganking Weaver, which isn't actually a thing, but it might be working out, especially if an arrow lands onto Hari. A couple more right clicks, it will land. 4K Warrior not going to get shackled, but he will get hexed and spiked. Still no Finger of Death levels. Lion 5 experience away from getting a kill, but it will be a very deep dive going towards that Vengeful Spirit. And the Weaver is getting a couple kills and buying a lot of space for Abi to clear out Roshan. xGame, they're playing a really chaotic game, and this is not something you really wouldn't expect from xGame in general, and especially not from a Weaver. But it's actually working out decently for them. Maybe it's because Alpha don't really have that much True Sight. Now they have Dust, but the lack of True Sight really hurt their kill potential on this Weaver, and they might have missed their opportunity.
Yeah, now with the Aegis and Lycan, it's just gonna make it that much easier for them to push. He's gonna have the Necro level 1 finished in about 140 gold. I don't think he's gonna be doing that much with only a Necro level 1. Maybe wait for the entire free and just bring them out to yourself at once. But also Stalker did go for a Hand of Midas, so gonna be farming up, getting the levels that way as well. And I'm not opposed at all, even for the slightly later Midas, just because Mirana otherwise doesn't have the greatest farming tools. I mean, Starstorm is decent, but usually you're kind of lacking the mana. Bottle maybe helps out a bit, but...
Batrider going to use his Blink, but it isn't going to actually lead to a direct lasso. This might cost him. Firefly will time out soon, and they're actually going to turn around, run into 4K Warrior, manning up once again. He's going to get lassoed. Arrow not going to be there, but a Fissure onto 3 will. Finger of Death, though, will kill off the Weaver in the end. Starstorm onto 5. Stalkat, though, taking a lot more damage in his dealings. Abi going to take a face full of Requiem. Will survive that one. Now going to try to go for the bat. That's not going to happen either. It's a 2 for 2. And Alpha, they got the jump. They should have gotten a much better trade out of that. But a 5-man Starstorm, plus the Lycan surviving, and he's had an Aegis, so he would have lived anyway. It actually wasn't too terrible for xGame, given their position.
Yeah, just, I love how the Lycan was like, screw it, I have Aegis, I'm gonna stay right next to the Shadow Fiend, although he's casting it. Definitely a bold move, but he was tanky enough not to die from it immediately. I guess level 2 Requiem ain't that strong yet, but... it's just Shadow Fiend. He's gonna get the BKB next. Gonna make things a little bit easier for him. Although this fight, there was quite a lot of just physical damage coming out from the Lycan more than anything else. And of course, great Fissure as well from the Earthshaker. Almost managed to buy enough time for the time lapse for the Weaver. But Moonlight Shadows, they're going for a gank into the enemy jungle now. xGame that is. Doesn't look at least like they're gonna find anything though.
It wasn't revealed either, so it's just a little bit unfortunate. Or a good call from Alpha to know that the enemies are not on the map right now. It's a hard call to make, though, because they only have one Observer Ward up, and that won't really be giving you that much intel. But the Moonlight Shadow will fail, and xGame will try to just keep on pushing with what they have right now. Again, they're not really massively ahead right now that they can make these pushes without being punished. In fact, it might be a tier 1 dropping mid before they could do any damage to this tier 2. And Alpha, if they really wanted to, can probably defend this top lane. It doesn't look like they really have that in mind, though.
I guess it's somewhat scary to defend, especially up against that Aegis, but mid lane Stalkat, Arrowed Lion, Starstorm to follow, and Lion, just not a tanky hero. 2 spells, you don't really even need attacks in between, as Hari trying to counter ward, but he's gonna pay the price. At least, yes, he's gonna kill the ward, so he knew he's screwed anyway, so might as well get it down. Counter sentry though immediately comes out as well. It's just Alpha, since their supports aren't accomplishing that much, it just means that they're not going to have the required detection to deal with a Weaver or a Mirana. So that in itself already is going to give a huge advantage to xGame.
And they're going to push that advantage by, well, pushing. Top lane tower already dead. They're going to move over towards the mid lane. With the Lycan's damage, this tower is soon to fall. There's also a level 2 book on Abi in case they get into a fight. And if you look at the items on Alpha, Batrider is pretty much exactly where he wants to be, and then some. Shadow Fiend has a BKB, that's a nice item for him to fight, but he can't really afford to man fight a Lycan at this stage, and Windrunner has a Mithril Hammer and nothing else. King is really falling far behind, and this is something we don't really see from Wind Rangers as of late, as they usually take the mid lane. Usually they get a lot of farm, but this game, she's not really going to be doing that much.
Yeah, it's just a little bit sad to see, to be honest. I just like that hero quite a lot, but I'm not so sure if Hammer first. I guess if you're going for a Maelstrom, it's fine. If you want to go for BKB, maybe get the Ogre Club. Yes, it's not going to give you the damage, but 872 HP is nothing, to be honest. You're gonna just fall over so fast if you get caught by anything. We'll see though, as Alpha, they themselves are smoked up. They need a huge Battle Lasso, but what target could they even go for? I mean, I guess maybe Weaver. And yes, exactly what happens as well. Are we gonna see a Fisher or anything to help out? He's gonna just get bursted down. But now, the counter action is there. Never mind, buyback, time lapse in. Mantis, he is so balls deep today. Lycan gonna run towards the backlines, will get Miggy down. Bat Rider will get out of the freezing field as another Shadow Race brings down that Crystal Maiden. And Lycan, I think he's gonna go down and he's gonna come back without the shapeshift. Or can maybe Stalkat help them out enough? Never mind. Thought Lycan maybe overextended a little bit too much, but they still had the Earthshaker and Mirana to back them up.
That was so freaking close. It just said reclaimed in 000, but then he died with the Aegis. If he lived for like half a second more, he was dead. Like, he would have had an Aegis.
Maybe.
Oh my god. That's the closest I've ever seen someone from just getting completely hosed. But either way, Mantis, as you said, manning up. And this is, again, not one of those good times where you want to be manning up as Weaver. He just died back, and it's not a good idea to do that ever.
With xGame, if they had, like, proper safe lane amounts of farm on the Weaver at the moment, this game could be so easy for them, but look at Weaver, still has less net worth than the Bat Rider. Didn't go for a Hand of Midas or anything. Does have Gloves of Haste now, so might be going for a super late one. Might also be picking up a Maelstrom, we'll see, but it's just that if Mantis had the same or close enough to the farms of the Lycan, this game would be like halfway in the bag for them already.
Yeah, but with this way of playing, it becomes a lot more entertaining. They're going to jump in for a lasso onto the Lycan. Finger of Death is here. If they get this chain done perfectly, and it looks like they will, then this Lycan is going to take a fall. Force Death out from Valak, though, has a freezing field. No, he doesn't, actually. Lycan's going to summon everything he has, going to try to go for Miggy. That Lion should take a fall, especially with the neutrals helping out, but Valak is now up the creek without a paddle. It's going to be a double kill for Bakemono up in the top lane, and I mean, Lycan getting jumped upon like that. CM probably shouldn't have been there, especially with no freezing field. Pretty sure if she had a freezing field, that might have been a kill, as they used most of their CC on the Lycan.
I think Lycan might have even been able to run away from there. I'm not too sure if Alpha had like heroes coming in from this side or something as well, but just felt a little bit weird. I think maybe run a little bit farther, and if you're still not dead, pop Shapeshift and escape. And also without Shapeshift, even the Necroboxes, they're not doing that much because they're rather slow. As Pokemon will pop his BKB, Stalkat just forcing out the BKB, not too shabby. It was a 9-second one after all.
Yeah, that was a pretty solid play from Stalkat. Didn't really do much of anything in order to get that play done. So, yeah, it was pretty clean. BKB charge popped, and the Shadow Fiend is one of the most important heroes for Alpha to stay alive in these fights. Is going for a very tanky route with what looks like to be an Eye of Scotty. Hari and Stalkat going to get into a fight. Arrow, Fissure, Stars will get the kill. And Vengeful Spirit in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's, well, I guess the 8th time where Vengeful Spirit's just been isolated out alone and is going to be taking a fall.
It's just a tough game to be a support, especially Lycan. I mean, Lycan has focused on the Vengeful Spirit so often in the fights as Stalkat now. He gets himself that Desolator. Going for kind of a glass cannon build so far on the Mirana, but with the Desolator, their push is gonna be absolutely ridiculously fast with the Necrobox and everything being there. Roshan also will respawn in 40 seconds time, so kind of a short one. 8 minutes and 40 seconds, just about. So, xGame, if they get another Aegis, Alpha, can they stop a high ground push?
I think they definitely can. As I said, xGame, they're not really that far ahead of Alpha right now. 7,500 gold is quite a bit. 2,000 experience, not really as much so. And a lot of that gold advantage can be mitigated by the fact that Alpha have initiation on their side in the Bat Rider. So maybe they're going to use it onto Mantis down the bottom lane. He's just farming happily away. Moonlight Shadow is going to be revealed, but suddenly Lasso and Dust into a Lion, into a Wind Ranger with a very long Shackle Shot, Spike after everything else, and Weaver is going to die. And, well, just like that there, oh, actually, Shadow Fiend trade up towards top. dropping everyone very low with that Death Requiem, and he actually does kill off the Lycan, so that was actually a very good trade for Alpha.
Yeah, xGame, I guess they weren't expecting him to get off that initial Requiem of Souls. If they only had to deal with the Death Requiem, it's fine. But I was like watching the kill on the bottom lane, to suddenly see on the top of the map, it's like 3 heroes dropping down to like what, quarter of an HP or something. I was like, what the hell just happened? Shadowfiend, really the only hero who can do that much AoE. I mean, what other hero in the game could do that much damage to 4 heroes? I mean, just getting ganked like that.
Techie suicide.
Well,
That's about it, man.
Yeah, it's, well, I guess it's weird. I didn't even think about that hero just because that hero as well a little bit sucky at times. Although we have seen, I think, a couple of Techies games by the pro teams, but somebody in the DAC group stage played it as well. Wasn't it Secret or EG or something like that?
I think it was. Didn't someone beat Cloud9 with Techies?
It
I
might have been Secret. I'm
Cloud9
not too
with
sure.
Techies. So, yeah.
I didn't see that game, but I think maybe not the only game, but the first game I saw with Techies, it was Black for VG Gaming. It was absolutely horrible. Didn't get a single thing accomplished. It was a mid lane Techies as well by him, but
Dude,
well, back to this game. Hurry!
top.
Is he gonna be screwed again? No. Magicka will wuss out and blink away.
Man, if that was Mantis, he would go all in right there with 400 HP, not a problem. But yeah, deciding to blink out of there with against the BKB Shadowfiend, probably a good decision. They're going to run to Abby, actually. Lycan going to get hexed up, but he is in that shape shift form already, so he has max movement speed, but it won't help him with a spike and a shackle and a finger of death. That's going to be 1 kill, 4K Warrior. Got a time lapse out of there, and Lycan, I don't know really why he was shape-shifted. It kind of helped him, but Alpha, again, just have so many forms of crowd control that even though Hex might not really work against Lycan, it still is going to be enough to kill him off.
Yeah, and suddenly now, there's an Eye of Sky finished as well on Bakemono, so Shadowfiend has been #1 in net worth for the longest of times already. Although, he's not that far off the Lycan, but they're gonna get the erosion for themselves in the next game. Otherwise, for Lycan, it would be so easy for them to grab it, but of course, for Dyers themselves, no medallion, but Wave of Terror plus Presence of the Dark Lord, easy minus armor. They get Roshan, there's gonna be Aegis on Shadowfiend, and of course, this time around, he's gonna get probably a guaranteed Requiem of Souls without dying, or even if he dies, he's just gonna pop back alive, and Lion picks up the blink as well.
Pingans at the same time trying to go for an Earthshaker kill. Is going to get held out by a Fissure. Haste Rune not going to do too much there. xGame have seemingly stopped with their all-out aggression. I think that's probably a good decision. They probably shouldn't have been playing like that from the beginning. It got them a couple of kills, but now with 2 Midases on the Mirana and the Weaver, they're just going to sit back and get a little bit more farm, and I think that's a reasonable way to play. Stalkat, though, going to run to Hari. Starstorm will pretty much instantly get the kill. Easiest kill of his life. Just press the button and get a kill. But, yeah, xGame, they should be slowing this game down, I think. They should have been playing a very slow game if it's more into their wheelhouse. Up towards top, though, Stalkat going to get hexed. Eye of Scotty going to do quite a bit of damage, but not enough. It's going to actually kill off Valak of all heroes. Because CM can't really get away. Eye of Scotty isn't really going to make a difference there. Magicka rotating in with the Moonlight Shadow, but going to think better of it. It's an even trade up towards top.
Yeah, Crystal Maiden just had the 4-step on cooldown, so couldn't quite get to the low ground. It was still on 5 seconds on cooldown when he died. But support for support, decent-ish in the end, as Lycan at the same time will be finishing up that BKB now after those Ancients, I believe. Or well, if not entirely, then he's going to be extremely close to it, 10 gold away. So with the BKB, he can finally just go and man-fight that Shadowfiend without having to be afraid of the Requiem of Souls plus the Death Requiem.
4K. He's going to get lassoed, but there's... Oh, Lion has a Blink Dagger, actually. I was like, where did Lion go? They're going to chain stun him pretty perfectly, and with no Finger of Death, it's not a problem. That was really weird. I saw Lion coming up the river, and then I saw Batrider not drag the Weaver down the river, so I'm like, where the hell are you bringing him? That's not the direction of the Lion, but the Blink Dagger, yeah, you'll get the kill, and that's going to be the 8th death of Mantis's Weaver. And this is also just him dying when he's just trying to play the defensive farm style that Mantis typically likes. That's not really working out for him. They're going to pop the BKB up towards top lane, try to go for that Shaker, but it's all the way down to 5 seconds, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal at all, and already up to another 3k gold as well on the Shadowfiend. I swear to god, he just finished that Eye of Skadi. Man, the Shadowfiend is gonna be a real hindrance just for xGame. But xGame themselves, they are still getting some form of farm. I mean, they have double Midas running, one on Weaver, one on Mirana. Looking at the graphs though, what used to be a 7,500 lead for xGame, suddenly down to 2.5 only. And XP is in the favor of Alpha, so xGame, they had some momentum, but they just didn't stay grouped up. They haven't used the Lycan for pushing just because, well, all the outer towers are down already. So do xGame now adopt more of a split pushing style, just rat it out with the Lycan?
I'm pretty sure they have to. Like, they can't really afford a heads-up fight right now, especially with Batrider off to the side already, prepped with that lasso. Over towards mid lane, though, King, he's kind of ready to fight, but not really, because he's going to get Frostbitten, needs to pop that BKB, he's going to try to turn around and kill off Valak. No, seeing the shapeshift, he will just book it, but you're going to man up if you're Lycan. He's going to try to grab the Wind Ranger, but he can't actually get any attacks off. He's going to run the other way. Now King going to get locked down and killed. That's 3 kills. Something else happened up towards top. I have no idea what went on up there, but it wasn't good for Alpha. They killed off the Weaver. I could only see that was just a blink last initiation. Abby going to reinitiate onto back of Mono, but will run out of shapeshift. He has an arrow coming in, will hit a creep, and now the Batrider right on top. Stalkat's going to try to ward him away with that Desolator, doing quite a bit of damage, and the Batrider will go down. Now Bakemono all alone, has the Aegis, so he won't die here, but he will lose that Aegis first. And now I'm pretty sure xGame can either set up for an arrow or cleanly disengage. Arrow will be up in time, which will connect perfectly. Bakemono is now going to get aggressed upon by Valak, plus the Lycan summon. He's going to try to turn and do what he can with the raises. He might get the kill on the Mirana. He will, but he will go down in the end as well. And Lycan gets to teleport away, and Alpha end up losing all of their heroes.
I mean, I have to say still, Lycan almost made a massive mistake running back into that when the shapeshift is ending into an Eye of Sky Shadowfin, and well, another shapeshift just wants to get to the creeps faster, needs to get that farm. But still, decent-ish fight in the end. I mean, both teams lost about equal amount of heroes there. But Crystal Maiden, funny enough, survived all of that. Does have an Ogre Club in the stash now, so gonna be a little bit more tanky than he used to. I guess BKB probably the smartest choice now. I mean, anybody and everybody could get BKB on xGame and it wouldn't be a bad pickup.
Yeah, or just get a Heaven's Halberd if you're the Crystal Maiden, get a little bit more evasiveness there versus the Shadow Fiend, and then try to shut down the Wind Ranger and the Shadow Fiend, just because BKB already down to 5 seconds. If you disarm him, can't really do that much as the hero. But either way, Alpha still not taking the best of fights. Having to deal with a double damage Lycan is always going to be really, really troubling in any game, and let alone this one. So xGame still having the ability to fight, and I think really just getting paid off because Alpha, they were not all together. They couldn't just all go in off the blink lasso from the Batrider. Because of that more scattered state, xGame with the likes of Weaver, Lycan, and Mirana can really punish these run-and-gun fights that Alpha are currently taking.
Well, the graphs once again slightly tipping upwards towards xGame's favor. XP still slightly in Alpha's just ballpark, but I mean, XP this close, it might as well be 0 in all fairness, but Alpha, they are on the hunt. They have a level 2 Finger of Death, so if anybody comes to the bottom lane, gonna be an easy kill. They've definitely showcased their ability to just perfectly go for stun after stun, not really overlapping them at all. But Batrider with the Firefly, he's not gonna catch anybody, I think, just because xGame, they are going the opposite direction.
Yeah, they used Moonlight Shadow as well, so if they did bump into each other, it would have been xGame with all the knowledge, and Alpha had no true sight with their 3 smoked up heroes, so it would have been really bad if they ran into them, but they didn't, and everyone's going to be happily backing off. Now Smoke Up from xGame with 4 heroes, everyone minus Lycan, who's lagging a little bit behind. They might run and disrupt a smoke of their own. They know exactly where the enemies are because they have an Observer Ward. However, Arrow's going to scout things out. Batrider's going to take a fissure. Is there a Frostbite follow-up? No, there isn't. Batrider looking for an angle into lasso someone. He's going to find Stalker, but the BKB's already up. Abby going to manfight Bakemono, taking no damage from the Requiem in the meantime. This is the manfight that Lycan is going to win. Bakemono now on full retreat. He does it the Butterfly plus Eye of Scotty plus Swap, and it looks like he will survive because of it. Everyone from Alpha looking to get out of there alive, and actually no one dies. That's really weird, but there's no lasso now here from Alpha. They will struggle to defend this tower, although Stalkat not really the healthiest. They will put a lot of easy damage in. Maggie gonna jump forward. That's a 2-man shackle. Finger of Death onto Abby, but the Echo Slam not quite gonna bail him out. Magicka still doing a lot of damage regardless, but he will get killed off in the end. That's 3 down in favor of Alpha. Weaver doing what he can versus the Batrider, but suddenly he's all alone. He's gonna time lapse, but he can't escape from this damage. A Shadow Fiend is a triple kill for Bakemono, and everyone from xGame get wiped. They only take out the Lion. A disastrous fight for xGame.
They just chased so damn far without getting proper stuns. Lycan, yes, you can do a lot of damage, even the Desolator Mirana can, but Alpha, they just keep on running away and that's it. Even Lycan with the shapeshifts, yes, you're gonna be a lot faster than anybody else in the game, but you're still not gonna get in as many right clicks as you would like. So xGame kind of just blowing their... Well, I wouldn't say they just blew their chances at the win or anything. They definitely have it in them. They have a Lycan. It might even come down to like base race or anything like that. But, I mean, what can I say? Just horrible fight like you already mentioned. The Butterfly also helping out Shadowfiend in a big way. Just having that evasion up against pretty much a fully committal right-click damage lineup. I mean, Desolator, Mirana, Weaver, Lycan. They don't have all that much magic to work with, so Shadowfiend, Butterfly, just a brilliant item pickup, and I don't think Monkey King bars will come out anytime soon.
They have double hands of Midases, but all the heroes that want MKB currently don't have anywhere near enough money, so yeah, they just don't have enough farm to grab those items, and even if they do, Shadowfiend is just so extraordinarily tanky. Of course, he will have this evasion to work with for quite a long time, but I have Scotty, BKB, Helm of the Dominator. These are rather defensive items, or items that offer a lot in terms of defense. So Bakemono is going to be really, really difficult to kill, especially if he ends up grabbing a Satanic down the line. Shadowfiend, he's dishing damage, like he's doing 300 damage a pop, that's extremely high, and he's, you know, packing 27 armor with 2500 HP. How do you kill this guy? You need to actually jump on him with an arrow or chain stun fissure, hit him with an echo slam, something around those lines. If you don't, he's just going to turn around and lifesteal, and then kill you, and then kill the entire team, as we already saw. So Alpha now sitting in a pretty decent position in xGame. I don't really know if that push was something that they really should have gone for. They kind of found themselves right in front of the enemy base, so I guess they were like, oh, we're here, we might as well try and do what we can. But you need a lot more if you're going to push the high ground of Alpha.
Well, it sure looks like it is Alpha once again, smoked up on the hunt, Stalket. Oh god, can you get the BKB? Nope, Hex first, and it's gonna be such an easy kill, so much damage output from Alpha. And what do you know, Roshan just respawns as they get the kill. If they just scout it out now, they should be able to claim it rather easily. And even if xGame buy back on the Mirana, I think Alpha should be able to take Roshan, but then again, Blink Echo Slam might be devastating, and now, oh god, xGame. It may pay off, but it may be just huge backfire.
That Rider going to jump right in, bring the Lycan up to the high ground potentially where he will be stuck. He has no TP. He's going to do nothing in this fight. Fissure going to help the rest of xGame disengage. They need a Force Staff. Valak does have it soon, but BKB is still up, and Lycan will get down to the low ground. No, he's still up on the high ground. He turned around. Now the Courier going to be sniped. Bakemono going to walk right into the middle of everything as they're healing off Magic Game with just the two supports. Bakemono is going to look for the Aegis. He will have it, but he can't quite grab it. 4K Warrior. No, Stallcat's going to grab it in the end. Requiem going to be charged up, doing a lot of damage to everyone. Stallcat will not get up that high ground, will lose the Aegis. 4K still throwing out those bugs, and Avi's still up on the high ground, can't do nothing but watch his team die. Stallcat gonna get tagged with the Eye of Scotty, jump up into the high ground looking for the kill on the bat, but now he's completely stuck. Couple more right clicks will get the kill there, and another disastrous fight. They still know where the Lycan is. Firefly gonna give them vision. That is just, I mean, for the mid lane fight was bad, but this one was just hilariously bad.
At least Aegis is not on Alpha's side, although they could have gotten it just because Wind Ranger, he got a beautiful, just marvelous shackle shot, landing onto the Weaver, and I think it was Stalcat on the Mirana, possibly in the Roche pit like that, but Bakemono, I don't know if he didn't realize that the Aegis didn't get picked up yet, or didn't just want to drop an item or what, but he definitely had the time to pick up the Aegis. It was there for like 4 seconds thanks to a shackle shot.
Man, that was just as bad as it gets, and the Shadowfiend still survives.
Hex was already used though, and Miggy was by himself. So I'm not gonna go for the kill.
Bakemono is gonna man fight up against Valak. A couple more Eye of Scotty hits, and Force Staff won't save you there. Shaker can't really do anything here. He needs 1-2 more allies if he's going to take out the Shadowfiend. Even then, Hari's right behind the Shadowfiend for a little bit more minus armor. Look at the damage Weaver's doing to the SF. Pretty much nothing. He's going to take everything the Earthshaker has to throw at him. Hari, though, going to swap it all out, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. Bakemono now going to get to work with that Helm of the Dominator. No, going to finish off the Raxes, whereas the Weaver chasing down the Vengeful Spirit will get that kill, but Vengeful Spirit doing her carry a great service there. Bakemono now going to be focused down with help of that Desolator. He's going to man fight it out with that lifesteal. Fissure, before Magicka dies, might end up getting them the kill, and it will. If that Fissure didn't come out, Shadowfiend could have just 1v3'd and came out on top. But still, they take down the melee Rax. This is really looking bad for xGame right now.
Yeah, it's going to be well worth it unless they lose Rax in return. Shadowfiend does have buyback, but even if you do buyback, you're going to be on 18 souls. Damage-wise, he doesn't really need those extra 18. Yes, they're going to help for sure, but it's really the Requiem of souls. The more souls you have, of course, in Necromastery, the higher the damage. But at least he has buyback, so I don't think xGame are going to be able to brute force their way. They might be able to force the buyback. I mean, 60 seconds is a pretty long time when Necrobook level 3 is there for the Lycan. But xGame, do they even go for it? I mean, they are slowly grouping up, but some heroes are lagging behind quite heavily.
I think they will be able to force out this buyback from the Shadow Fiend. As powerful as the Wind Ranger and Bat Rider are right now, they really lack the staying power of the Shadow Fiend in order to sit back and fight it out. And Weaver also just picked up a Demon Edge, so his damage output is no longer absolutely pitiful. Tower is going to get misfortified, and they actually sniped the Lion in the bottom lane. Stallcat doing that one by himself. Now they pop the Moonlight Shadow. There's a sentry ward over in the mid lane, so they see everyone coming in. But Alpha, they lack the damage right now. They're going to land a two-man shackle. Focus fire onto Abby. He's going to get force stabbed out. He will start the shapeshift, and he might survive because of it. Yes, he'll run down to the south, and that Fissure really saving their ass now. But Bakemono's back from the dead. Bought back for this one. Let's see if he can get anything going. He's popped the Flutter, and it looks like he won't find anyone. Buyback forced out from xGame, and it's a clean retreat on all of their heroes, albeit a narrow one. They take a tier 3. They pull the fortification out of Alpha. But now they have to worry about a Shadow Fiend crackback.
Well, enforcing the buyback, I think, is just good enough for xGame, definitely. They also got the tier 3, so got some extra gold for it. And it's just Stallcat. Had he not sniped the Lion, could have gone way worse for them, because Lion, he's a huge part of the lockdown that Alpha has, of course. But now King might be in some trouble on the Wind Ranger. Do we have a Blink Echo Slam? Blink Echo Slam arrow to follow as well. Guaranteed kill. 65 seconds. They could even possibly go once again if they just regen up, go in, they have the Necrobook, but maybe it would take them too long to just run towards the enemy base.
Yeah, they don't really have any options. They have to assemble all up on top or bottom, and they're just way too far away from that because Lycan's in the base and he has no travel. So the base is a little bit too far away right now for xGame, so they can't really capitalize off of this kill. But a kill's a kill, especially a kill on a Wind Ranger, who clearly can do a lot of damage versus your tankiest hero, the Lycan. You're going to be happy that you took her off the table for now. But still, Alpha, they're not going to be too bothered by this. They still have the mid lane in their advantage right now, and they still have a lot of fighting potential with the items that they currently have, plus the Shadow Fiend, who just, well, he bought out, so he's not really holding on to too much gold right now. xGame, they're still on the back foot, but if they get a little bit more time with these Midases, they can get to a point where they'll just brute force their way through everyone else minus the Shadow Fiend, then they'll kill him off afterwards.
Yeah, it definitely might happen, although Shadow Fiend is gonna get the Satanic as well, so he has it finished now. Of course, doesn't have any gold, but like I pointed out, already buyback on cooldown anyway. So with the Satanic, with 3.3k HP just about, how the hell is anybody in xGame supposed to kill him? Of course, they definitely have enough damage if they have like uninterrupted just attacking time, but that shouldn't be the case. Hopefully for Alpha, that's not gonna be the case. But like I said, it might come to a point where they just brute force everybody else, and Weaver, finishing up a Monkey King bar now, at least has enough gold for it. Definitely a step in the right direction. I'd expect Stallcat to start building towards his own Monkey King bar. Maybe even a Lycan, but for now AC was the item for him. So they have gotten quite a lot of items. Looking at the graphs as well, net worth is pretty much zeroed out now. XP only about a 4k difference as well, which used to be 15,000 for Alpha. So I'm beginning to question if those melee racks were worth it in the end.
I'm pretty sure they still were. It's just Alpha have to make sure to not get picked off, as they have been getting sniped quite a few times. Like, the Vengeful Spirit's been sniped a million times. The Wind Ranger getting Echo Slammed up towards top because she decided to push that alone. Like, these are small plays that at this point you can't really afford to be making, just because, well, you're down a hero, you're giving a lot of advantage over to the enemy side because you are so far ahead. So Alpha, staying as a group, probably going to be their safest bet. And it looks like they will do just that. Smoke up, head up towards top. Unfortunately for them, Stallcat just got finished TPing out of there, so they can't get anyone down up on top lane. But still, they'll make sure that their jungle is going to be safe, and then maybe they're going to assemble for a tier 2 tower push up towards top. That tower has been up for quite a long time, and it's, at this point, very easy for them to kill it off. Oh, they're also going to intercept a courier. That's pretty nice.
If they can kill it after it picks up the item, might be a little bit bigger, but they didn't see it, or, well, never mind. One right click from Bakemono, gonna be easy. I'd like to say that courier should have like a set amount of attacks needed for kills. Just because like one hit kills are too silly.
Yeah, maybe like 2 attacks for like a walking and 4 attacks for a flying or something like that. It would maybe be a little bit too good for range heroes, but they're going to jump into Bakemono. Echo Slam first things, start things off, but Bakemono will get out of there with the swap, pop the BKB and just turn things around with the Wecrium, doing a lot of damage to the Earthshaker, spike through onto 4K, Finger of Death as well, they'll kill off the Weaver. Albi also can't man fight Bakemono, Stallcat and Valak gonna do what they can, but it's not really enough because Shadow Fiend has lost 1,000 HP total. Now he's going to charge forward looking for Stallcat. He already used the leap, has a TP. Shackle not going to latch even though there's a tree right next to him. And I don't really think that Mirana has many options here. Eventually she's going to succumb to this damage. And there it is. Shadow Fiend will come in, help clean up. In the meantime, mid lane is in complete shambles for xGame. They focused everything they had onto the Shadow Fiend. And they couldn't bring him down less than half. That Satanic, the Eye of Sky, the BKB, plus of course the Vengeful Spirit swap doing wonders.
Yeah, they really needed the perfect stun lock. They needed the arrow to follow up before the BKB and Shadow Fiend came, but they just couldn't get it off. Shadow Fiend, to be honest, had he kept on right clicking the entire time, I don't think he would have even dropped that as low as he did before he popped the Satanic, but definitely Requiem of Souls, I mean, is always going to be nice. When it connects, not only does it do a lot of damage, it also does reduce the damage just as well as the movement speed from the enemy. So excellent, just placed by Alpha. Beautiful fight. Was it only the Vengeful they lost, or was it the Lion?
Lion also.
Still just losing supports. It's like, eh.
Yeah. As long as they're not losing their Shadow Fiend, they're going to be really happy. Like, it's a 2-for-5 trade. Even if they did lose their carries, it's still good.
Yeah, and they're going to have either a Daedalus or a Monkey King Bar Wind Ranger soon enough as well. So even King is doing a lot of damage now, especially with the Focus Fire being active, and well, it's going to be off cooldown in 15 seconds all the time, so he's going to have a lot of focus fire time probably in the fights. Like I said earlier on, just when you have a lockdown on somebody, focus fire will do so much, and they definitely have the lockdown. So Alpha, they're looking good. Graphs, once again going back in their favor. There's been quite a bit of up and down in this game. xGame, I mean, on paper they have a pretty scary late game. Lycan, Weaver, as well as a Mirana, all of them being somewhat farmed. But they just can't seem to be able to pull together the fight somehow.
Yeah, they can't really get enough damage into Bakemono, and at this point, it might just be stuck in their heads that Shadow Fiend is the only threat. We have to kill the Shadow Fiend. Well, first of all, Magic A is going to get hexed up. Focus Fire down, very easy kill for the Alpha side, and they're going to continue to push down towards bottom. But as I was saying, they might have it stuck in their head that Shadow Fiend is the only threat. If we kill Shadow Fiend, we win the team fight, we can push afterwards. At this point, the Wind Ranger is farmed enough so that she is going to be, doing a lot of damage, but kind of like very quietly. Like in the background, she's going to be doing damage. So xGame, they're going to be focusing all their attention onto the super tank, the Shadow Fiend. Meanwhile, they're getting picked apart by Wind Ranger. Push in from xGame, going to be stopped by a Fortify. Miggy going to jump in for a 2-man spike. And these summons not going to stop Alpha. They don't have any other TPs, anyone else. They're going to lose all of their mid lane. Oh man, guys, carry TP scrolls. Maybe they're going to catch someone on the retreat. 4K Warrior going to run into the Bat Rider looking for that lasso. He has a gem, but he can't quite get close enough. That's what happens when you don't carry TPs. It's a good item.
Oh god, just... I've seen too many games being lost purely by the fact that TPs are not present, of course. I guess Pokemon are kind of maxed out at the moment, but has picked up that Hyperstone, so we'll go for an AC for their own team unless he wants to build a Mjolnir. But just... you need a TP, just get boost of travels over finishing up the AC even, I think.
Yeah, and you can't really afford to race a Lycan and a Weaver with an MKB and a Mirana with a Desolator. That race is not going to be won by Alpha, despite the fact that they do have an incredible amount of farm. So they're going to lose their mid lane. Roshan is up though, and Magicka, he's going to get jumped, hexed, and he's going to get focus fired. Second time for the Earthshaker. And look at that, Roshan is conveniently alive right next to them. As long as they have TPs to get back into their base, they'll be able to kill this Roshan. But Wind Ranger doesn't, and Shadow Fiend doesn't, so they can't really use the Shadow Fiend to kill off Roshan. They have to worry about this top lane.
I do believe Hari just gave his TP to King now on the Wind Ranger. Focus Fire was used into the spell block, so without the Focus Fire they're not even gonna get Roshan. I mean, xGame, they are writing things out, and with the Manta style Desolator, doing quite a bit of damage with Weaver helping out Mantis. He's dropping extremely low, Hex off of course into Lincoln Sphere, another Hex is there, never mind, Mana Burn was used for the first one. Still not enough, Lion loses his life, no buyback, Shackle Shot does not connect, but there's the Shiva's card. They need to get the lasso on somebody, never mind, on cooldown. But Lion dies, they do defend the tier 3, although, well, 21 HP, I'm not too sure if I can call it a proper defense, and what do you know, Lycan is doing Roshan at the same time. Does he even have the inventory space? He does for the Aegis, she is there hanging about to pick that one up. So xGame, I'd say they just outmaneuvered Alpha here.
Oh man, yeah, I don't know if there's any better way to put it. The fact that Alpha didn't have TP scrolls really helping out xGame and using that in outmaneuvering. It's really easy when the enemies can't teleport around. So xGame, they almost take down a tier 3 tower. You breathe on it and it dies. They already even up the mid lane score. And Alpha, they still can take these fights, but xGame, they're going to flip the switch on this ratting style. And as I said before, it was going to be probably their best option for quite a long time now. It's very hard to lock down a Weaver, pretty much ever, and especially with a Weaver with a Lincoln Sphere means that Batrider is going to have to blink, Force Staff the Weaver, and then lasso if he wants to get that kill effectively. And of course, he has to do something similar to the Mirana, who has a BKB. Lycan, of course, the king of rats, or one of the kings of ratting. Alpha, they are going to struggle to defend all lanes simultaneously, and this is really where the Tricore of xGame comes into play. They can put even pressure on all three of these lanes, and at the same time, have enough fighting power to actually fight if they need to in each of those lanes.
Yeah, and Valik, BKB Crystal Maiden, I mean, you can still die so damn fast. I mean, 1.1k HP isn't all that much, but at least there's nothing to disable you, and Crystal Maiden definitely isn't a high priority target as it is anyway in the fights. So, might get off a pretty massive freezing field. We do have 2 BK, oh, never mind, 3 BKBs on Alpha, so I guess all of their cores do have them. But, looking at the durations, Batrider's 5, Shadowfiend is also 5, and Windranger, well, sitting on 6, but the freezing field might actually just be a game breaker for xGame, or in the favor of xGame.
Yeah, CM just has to make sure that she's kind of in the background so that she doesn't really draw any attention, because even though she is immune to magic, she will still die in like 4 hits. So maybe, get in there with the freezing field in the background so that Shadow Fiend isn't going to just instantly kill her off. But the dream is possible right now for xGame's CM to just get that fully channeled freezing field. And I mean, they've been struggling to kill off the Shadow Fiend. Freezing field is something that can do it, assuming it's not interrupted.
Okay, so Mantis finally went for it, but picking up a BKB, did sell the drums now to make space for it, doesn't want to get rid of the Midas just yet. But with this BKB and the Lincolns, he should not get ganked, or if he does, it's gonna have to be such a great gank from Alpha, or maybe really poor reactions from Mantis himself. Windranger though does pick up a blink, so slight positional advantage maybe to get a nice shackle shot off. Hari though is gonna be in so much trouble, arrow will not land into the Batrider, he does get to dodge it. Hari 4-stepped out by his teammate, so no kills yet. Top lane.
Yeah, they're pushing that one in just with the wolves and the summons, and Lycan is going to shapeshift that one out. Dodge pretty much everyone. Swap not available. And, okay, top lane's a problem. Now bottom lane's a problem. Aegis still up. King going to blink forward. Shackling the illusion's not going to do too much there. Earthshaker looking for an angle in. Valak is going to get sniped before anything else. Popping out the BKB, the Shadow Fiend, though, might be worth it if they could follow up right now. Earthshaker, though, going to get locked down in the corner. Requiem going to be canceled, and the Magic is going to be brought down. But the rat is in full effect right now. 4K going to go right up to the top lane. Looking for a lasso. That Batrider is going to stop this push from happening. It's like a game of whack-a-mole. I think Alpha are doing fine managing it for now, especially if they get Stallcat. Blink forward for a Hex. Spike is there as well as a Shadow Fiend damage. Stallcat is going to die right now. And xGame tried to outmaneuver Alpha one more time. But when they're actually in their base, it becomes so much harder, and they are the ones to get crushed.
I have no clue what Valik was thinking on the Crystal Maiden. There was no backup anywhere close by. He didn't use the Force Staff either. Maybe he had lag, but Hari, he in a lot of trouble. Ghost Scepter does save him for now, but going for the TP out, and that's the death of him. Had he just kept on running, would have had a higher chances. BKB comes out from the Lycan, wants to go for Miggy. Bakemono is close by, but the slows, of course, won't affect him at all. And Miggy doesn't have a Ghost Scepter of his own. Lion will lose his life. I think Earthspike will not get Lycan, but the Hex is there. Shapeshift ended, and Miggy, he's gonna survive for now. They didn't get another kill though. Lasso still there, and Lycan, I don't think they even need the lasso. And no shapeshift, so that's just kind of a waste of an Aegis here.
There's no mana on the Windranger. They have a magic missile though, and that will be enough with no BKB. Abby can't get anything going, and split push status. A couple of units up towards top trying to go for these melee Raxes, but that regen is going to kick in and defend themselves. xGame over the past couple of minutes throw a whole bunch of heroes away. I don't even know what the total tally is, but Alpha kind of get a free roll as xGame. They're just running into the enemy base, trying to win the game off of megas, but it's just not working out. I think the graphs, the shape of the graphs, really tells the entire story.
Top lane King does want to get Valik down. One shackle shot might just be an easy kill, but BKB from Crystal Maiden and TP out will be there. Monkey King bar doesn't. Never mind, doesn't have it finished yet. If he had the Monkey King bar with the focus fire, I'm pretty sure he would have gotten the mini bash, but Mantis in the meantime does a skateboard, does he? Hex into the Lincoln Sphere, Earthspike will get the stun, they need the magic missile to follow, but the Fissure buys just enough time for Mantis to Sukuchi out of there. So nice save from the Earthshaker for now. But man, this game, I have no clue who's gonna win this. I mean, both teams definitely capable of winning it. So far, nobody really has a Rex advantage. It's just make sure you have enough money for buyback, I guess.
Calling it right now, someone's going to do something to end up throwing the game completely. I don't know who it's going to be. Like, both sides are capable of throwing this game right now, but someone's going to do it. I just have that feeling. So, yeah, Moonlight Shadow is there. They're going to try to go for the top lane Wind Ranger. That's not going to work out. Bottom lane still being pushed now by a couple of these dire heroes. Shadow Fiend has sufficient backup here, and now he is completely 6-slotted. So, yeah, he's not going to get any stronger in this particular game. Maybe he's going to look towards an MKB eventually, but I don't really know if he needs it right now. He's going to demolish the bottom lane tier 2. Mid lane is being pushed by Mantis. This Weaver wishes he had a Desolator right about now, but he's going to go ahead and start backdooring the range racks up towards top. And there's not much that Alpha can do about this. TP coming in, Fortification is there. Bakemono is going to arrive, and well, just like that, the Weaver's going to shoot Kuchi away.
Well, that's rather disappointing, but it was a 9-second BKB. I mean, for the Weaver, it's fine. He does ensure his safety, so I think they're just gonna keep on playing like this. Alpha, they do have double boots of travels, I do believe. Now triple boots of travels, all the cores have it. But even then, just TP in takes some time, and within that time, a sizable chunk of damage has been dealt to at least the range racks as Pokemon now. Is he a little bit too far up? Doesn't look like it. xGame not gonna take any crazy chances. They're just, I think they're fully committed to the rat now.
Yeah, I think that's probably the correct decision. Alpha, they really want to be fighting off of this lasso, but right now it's just so difficult for the Bat Rider to find an angle on anyone that'll actually stick, and he needs to be with someone who can do the damage. Lion at this point isn't quite going to cut it, I don't think. They need someone other than just the Spike Finger of Death in order to get these kills. They're going to jump in for 4K Warrior, though. Do they have True Sight? You bet they do. 4K is going to drop. And that's Weaver down, but they can't really make any plays anywhere else because the creep momentum is heading towards the Dire, so they have to go on the defense once again.
You were just talking about throws. I was totally thinking that maybe Mantis is going to buy back time-lapse in to 5 and just die again. That would have been a pretty just obvious throw.
Yeah, the cries of 322 would be real. Like, I would be even crying that a little bit. They're going to try to look in their own jungle, looking for someone. They find Stallcat. Oh, man, he has a leap, but he can't even get it out. Pops the BKB before he dies. It's only 5 seconds, but still, can't really get anything in that situation. And Alpha, they take now 2 very important heroes down. They have to worry about the Lycan down towards the bottom lane. Tier 3 might take some damage here. But I think right about now, Alpha can make a play to try to push out these lanes and try to head towards the Radiant base.
Man, it's just so hard. I mean, they get the kills, but their lanes are still all getting pushed in. So xGame is still doing a pretty great job there. Weaver, to be honest, was the one pushing out one lane constantly. At the moment, Roshi is also up, so it's Aegis and Cheese if they want to take that one. xGame, I highly doubt they're even gonna go contest, even if they just the biggest Echo Slam for Earthshaker. I don't think it would be enough there. Then again, Veil of Discord, level 3 Echo Slam, maybe so.
Echo Slam gonna do absolutely nothing to the Bat Rider. He's gonna make a clean TP out of here. He doesn't even have to. He's gonna cancel it, in fact, because he has King right next to him. Shapeshift from Abby a little bit late. Force Staff gonna do next to nothing for the Bat Rider. He's stuck in a corner, but he will be fine once he gets out of there. King looking for a shackle, but BKB is up on the Lycan. They pull out the Echo Slam, results into absolutely nothing. xGame.
Oh god, double man Earth Spike from Miggy. Does get the Hex onto Magic, of course. Didn't use it on the Lycan because he has Shapeshift, but with the slows, I think, yep, BKB from Bakemono does get rid of that Fissure stun. Or, well, does dodge it rather. Beautiful stuff from Miggy coming out, just landing the Earth Spike perfectly. Of course, Lycan makes it out, but even so, Earthshaker down and... Well, they did get the kill on Bat Rider in the end. Bat Rider didn't activate the Firefly fast enough. I don't know for what reason or why he didn't go for like an immediate lasso with Firefly onto the Lycan. Or, I guess, maybe wouldn't have cancelled this TP even.
Well, yeah, I think he just died to the Necro units, but either way, xGame, they're forced to buy back with Magicka. Is going to throw a Fissure, not too jack to Bakemono. The split push right now for xGame is non-existent, so they're forced into a heads-up fight. This is a 5v4. but they have no Echo Slam right now, and they have to deal with Bakemono, who's in pretty much a perfect position. They're going to wrap around from behind. Arrow going to connect onto King. In the meantime, back end, Lion is going to die, making it a 3 versus 5. Hari stuck in a corner is going to unleash the Wave of Terror, but he's doesn't have anywhere to go. Bakemono going to wind up with the ultimate, do quite a bit of damage to everyone. Going to try to go for 4K Warrior, but he will fall short there. Rax has already been taken, though. He's going to instead try to go for Stallcat. Leap out, not quite there for Mirana. Is going to die, now going to 4K. He's going to get stunned, though, once BKB wears off. He's at the mercy of Earthshaker. He does have the evasion working, some pretty good magic right now. He's going to just man-fight everyone right now, taking no damage. He's going to kill off 4K, will die in the end. Magica with the stuns, doing just enough. In the meantime, they lose the CM up towards the top lane, but Alpha, they do take a secondary set of Raxes down towards bottom, and now the split pushing from xGame gets so much more difficult.
Man, just Shadow Fiend, he literally went 1 versus 4 and killed 2 heroes. How the hell does that even happen? I guess it's just only 1 Monkey King bar, and that's on the Weaver. Now Lycan finishes his own as well, so next time around that kill should be a hell of a lot faster for them, but man, Shadow Fiend, if only he had some backup from the other heroes at the same time. Patrider did also buy back, but didn't just join the fight. I think he wanted to make sure that their own Rax won't get pushed in or anything. But Alpha finally get another Rax down, so they have a slight advantage when it comes to buildings, but I think 57 minutes in, it won't be over until it's supersized Mega Creeps, and even then, there's still a chance that the enemy might be able to just get counter ancient.
Yeah, Mega Creeps are going to help, but it's definitely not going to be an instant win, especially if you suicide for those Megas. Now, the buyback status in this game, it should be pretty important for both sides to keep buyback up. And Lycan, Weaver, they don't have it, but crucially the Shadow Fiend does for Alpha. And with 11,000 gold, you would expect him to have that pretty much all the time. Is there anything that you replace here for the Shadow Fiend?
It's hard to say. I mean, you would think that BKB probably is the best thing to replace, but he's been dodging some pretty good stuff. Still, maybe even just replace a Butterfly now that more Monkey King bars are coming out. I mean, Mirana herself is gonna get one soon enough. Maybe it is worth to replace the Butterfly, even though it gives you some excellent armor, nice attack speed of course as well. So I'd say either BKB or Butterfly. Maybe even Skadi, to be honest.
Grab a Daedalus or something like that, and then put a little bit more faith into your lifesteal to survive. That sounds reasonable for the Shadow Fiend, but with 11,000 gold, you could do whatever you want and then be happy with it. And Wind Ranger's also pretty farmed as well. She's at 4,800 with a almost fully 6-slotted build, Mjolnir to be upgraded, and that's it. And then she could think about replacing the BKB or a Blink Dagger, but Alpha, they're getting very, very close to maxed out in all the heroes. Lycan is close to that point as well. He has a Vlad so that you can replace something heavy hitting like a Satanic. But bottom lane, mid lane, they're going to start pushing in towards the Radiant, and they're going to jump in for Magica. Shackled to a tree, and this Earthshaker is going to die without getting a single spell off. He drops a gem as well. Arrow going to connect onto King, not going to matter too much, as xGame, they're on the full retreat right now. I'm pretty sure the play right now is simple for Alpha. Push the top lane and try to get Megas.
By the way, have we even seen a freezing field ever since the BKB came out for Crystal Maiden?
No. I think she just... there was a chance on the bottom lane, but she just died.
That is massively disappointing, that's all I can say, to be honest. Oh god. Definitely, at the moment, I think might be hoping for like a Ghost Elder, but they jump in, they get the 1 kill onto Wind Ranger, does have buyback. Not gonna waste it now that the fight will be stopped. But still, a nice pick up there. Thank god Wind Ranger did not fully commit into finishing up the Monkey King bar after selling the Maelstrom to get the Demon Age. But, well, Mantis, he's gonna go for a tier 3. So that's gonna mean 2 sets of racks are almost exposed. Earth Spike just not getting close enough for Miggy. Although Batterer still keeps on going, has the lasso. Oh god, he was so close to getting it off there. Or getting close enough to get it off. But 60 minutes in, this game still doesn't have a conclusion and might not have for another like 10 minutes.
Yeah, bottom lane is in full shambles right now, but it's not really something that Alpha can capitalize off of unless they get a jump onto 4K. They need a spike to land, but it will not connect. They have a lasso here, and it will. Do they have Finger of Death? They do. Will it be enough damage? It will just be enough, I think, but no, the BKB comes out, and they're going to lose vision because of Shukuchi. They have a gem on the Lion, but he's a little bit too slow. Venge coming in from the side, has a swap, will get it, and that will be the death of the Weaver. He does have a buyback, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have to use it. Everyone from Alpha, they want to go for the top lane, but maybe it's just time to go down towards bottom and then slide to the top lane from inside the enemy base, because it will take too long to push out the top lane by itself. They're not really in a great position right now. Wind Ranger not being alive is really hurting their ability to push.
Oh, most certainly so, but They're just going to take it slow, play it methodically, maybe hope for another just pick off anywhere. Both teams, to be honest, hoping for some, but Alpha with the Batrider, theoretically it's a lot easier for them to get pickoffs. And speaking of the Batrider, up to 5.2k as well. Everybody's getting so stacked. Looking at the levels, we have 6 heroes in the game being maxed out level 25. As Lycan, they get the kill. Bakemono in a lot of trouble. Can he get off the Satanic? No, he cannot. He did get, well, he cut it off, but couldn't get a single right click to get the lifesteal. So that is a massive kill. Lion also going down. Just, I guess they shouldn't have stayed around for too long.
Yeah, they don't really want to stay around with those low man squads. Valak is going to get jumped up towards the top lane. Just the Venge Batrider is all they need to kill off the CM. Suddenly, either side down 2 heroes. And it's still just a testament to how even this game is right now. But the Shadow Fiend has buyback, so this push from the xGame side, unless they decide to just bum rush the structures, they're not really going to get that far. Maybe they force out the buyback from Shadow Fiend. I'm pretty sure that's the play right now. Try to do that. But if they kill off a Shadow Fiend again, then Alpha can lose the game out of nowhere because of how fast xGame can destroy these structures. They're going to Moonlight Shadow first of all. They see the Batrider off to the side. Batrider, I'm sure, sees them. If they land an arrow right now, this could be a great way to start this fight. Arrow will fly to the mid lane, not going to do anything. Blink forward for a last one to Stallcat. Need a fissure there. It is going to come out with Stallcat. Going to get chain stun. He will go down. Lycan going to charge right in with the BKB. Lion going to buy back for this one, however, and Lycan not doing enough damage, has to disengage. He will run off to the side. Spike going to connect. Shackle cooling down. Finger of Death is there. Swap back. Shackle not going to latch, but now he's going to run the opposite direction. Blink forward from Batrider. Going to shove him back. Magicka there with a fissure. Slow down the Batrider, but still Abby in a little bit of trouble. He is going to try to TP out. The stuns, the damage is going to be there. Lycan is going to die. They also catch Magicka with the Hex, and he's going to die as well. Only the Weaver is alive right now, and he has a super secret mission. Go up to the top lane and try to rat it out. Just try to rat. He will fail to kill off the range Rax because of the fortification. TP coming back. It is going to be King. Range Rax is going to die to one more Geminate attack. They're going to all TP back, in fact, to try to kill off this Weaver. And it looks like that will not work. But Alpha, they're all alive. In xGame, they're mostly dead. So this is a chance for Alpha to end the game.
Alpha, they took that fight, or well, they got the kills, the 3 kills, or the 3 deaths that xGame have at the moment. It was without the Shadow Fiend even being there. Of course, xGame, it's not like they were fighting as 5. It's just Alpha using that Batrider perfectly for the initiations. Also, Lion, he's been having a hell of a game. Great hexes, great Earth Spikes, just pretty good overall play by them.
And they're going to go down the top lane. Shadow Fiend going to snipe the CM up towards top. Now going to get into a duel with 4K. This is not a fight that Weaver can win right now, and probably not ever. So he is going to have to teleport back. He has no other options right now, but by the time he actually gets back to the base, the tower at the very least is going to die right now. There's buyback for the Earthshaker, but he doesn't really want to use it with only 10 seconds left on the clock. But that 10 seconds is a lot of time when you're talking about this amount of damage. The tier 3 tower is going to drop. Fortification has already been used. Melee going to go down. Bakemono is still on the front lines. Going to start to tank up everything. Lycan going to engage very quickly. Swap out from Hari though. Bakemono still dropping very low. Pops the Titanic. Now going to restore like 200 health per swing. He will go down in the end. Requiem doing a lot on his death, but he will go down in the end. And now the Batrider is on the run in the enemy base. Looks like he will get down to the low ground with the Force Staff. Rana going to give chase. In the meantime, 4K looking for King. Not quite going to find it. Instead, going to change his mind. Going to go for Hari. Fissure going to wall off 4K, though. Arrow will not connect either, just not long enough. And the Venge might live. The Mega Creeps have been taken. With the Shadow Fiend down, xGame, do they only have one more chance at winning this game? Can they just brute force their way through the mid lane? It's going to be close.
And if they had the Lycan, I'd say yes as Earthshaker. No! I have no idea why he wanted to chase down Vengeful Spirit so bad, but has to buy back now. And I just think without Lycan, they're not going to be able to force a buyback on Shadow Fiend. And as long as Shadow Fiend has buyback, and well, considering he has 15,000 gold, he's definitely going to have enough gold for it at least. Unless he buys like triple rapier soon enough or something and just puts them all on the ground. I don't know.
You might as well save up. I mean, that will actually make the goal to do something. You could try to do some shenanigans. But right now, yeah, Lycan being dead.
If you have so much gold, I think it's just almost always worth it to have like backup rapiers just in case in the base.
Yeah, because the gold right now is doing literally nothing, whereas backup rapiers will be doing something, maybe. But Lycan, does he have travels? He does. So Alpha, they will have their full force in the mid lane, and xGame have one more chance to win. This is not a good start, though. Top lane, bottom lane, both going to be pushing in. Mirana doesn't really have that great clearing. And right now, 4K Warrior is spotted by the Bat Rider. Uh, Killing him off, though, is going to be hard because they have to get through Lincoln Sphere and they have to layer their tools correctly. And there is this Earthshaker right around the corner. But if they kill this Weaver, then I'm pretty sure Alpha just win the game.
It's
Actually, no, there's
probably
buyback
true.
in Weaver.
Well, I mean, even with the buyback, not entirely sure if they're going to be able to make it, but from that last fight, xGame, they have gotten to a point that where, well, having 3 Monkey King bars, they do a hell of a lot of damage, even to that Butterfly Shadow Fiend, of course. Even if the time... Oh, never mind. He got the time lapse off, he's fine, didn't get lassoed. But it's just Shadow Fiend, he couldn't even satanic himself up back to full if the full attention was there on him from all 3 heroes of xGame, all 3 cores. But of course that meant that the other heroes from Alpha just absolutely had free reign to do anything they want during the fight. And xGame, well, they're holding on, but they don't even have the best heroes to combat Malik or just the Mega Creeps. And oh, bottom lane Bakemono got the BKB off before he got properly jumped. Magica will be able to TP out himself, as will Valik, so they don't lose anybody. They of course don't get the kill either. But it just hurts me to see 15,000 gold on somebody, I have to say.
Hey, you gotta pay for school for the little baby Shadow Fiends. You gotta get them an education so they don't have to fight like their dad. King, though, gonna get tagged with an arrow. Stalkeye can leap right in to a whole mess of enemy heroes, though. BKB is gonna help, but not really enough. He's gonna take a very quick fall. Here comes the Lycan. A little bit late to party. Valak, finally with that freezing field, is going to get focused down immediately, lassoed up, and that will be his death as well. Moonlight Shadow's going to keep the Lycan safe to paw down the Wind Ranger with one more hit there. Now he's stuck in the Roshan pit. He's going to pop everything he has, but he will get spiked. Everything will get spiked. Finger of Death there as well. Arrow from the side. Going to tag Bakemono right now. Abby's still alive through all of this, but he will go down eventually. Hari will be an even trade. The Bat Rider also trying to get up to the high ground, but Megas doing the work.
Yeah, once the Megas came out, I think there was like almost no chance for xGame to win this, but a really long, tiring game for both teams probably. But Team Alpha didn't think, or well, not having seen them before this game, didn't think they're gonna hold the candle to xGame, but just, I guess, one too many stand-ins for xGame possibly. And of course, mistakes were made by both teams at times, maybe a little bit more so from xGame. I think they could have ended this game earlier, had Mantis just not played that aggressively. But this is a 2-game series after all, guys, so we're gonna jump into game number 2, so stick around if you want to see how the series will end. It's only going to be 2 games, no third game, no matter the outcome of the second one, but we're heading into the second lobby now, so see you in just a couple of minutes.